right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are going to now get into talking about the last game of Week 12 between now the Ravens and the Chargers. Um, and we got Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh coaching against each other. This has happened before. They actually were airing the Super Bowl on NFL Network that they were coaching against each other, and that was a long time ago between the Ravens and the 49ers at the time. And that was the Super Bowl where the lights went off. And, it was kind of a blowout, but then the Niners made it close at the end. But the Ravens got the win there. And Justin Tucker was a rookie in that Super Bowl. So that's how long ago that was. And I was also in my first year of middle school during that Super Bowl. So it's been a long time. Now, they did coach against each other again. I think during I believe it was the 2015 season, I want to say. It was the 2015 or the 2014 season. But now they're coaching against each other again. But now Jim Harbaugh is the coach of the Chargers. And he's got the Chargers playing really well. They're coming off of that win against the Bengals last week. Ravens coming off of a loss against the Steelers. So, curious to see how this game goes. Now, the Ravens' pass defense has not been good. The Chargers, Justin Herbert has been throwing the ball. He's been airing it out more. And the Chargers' passing game looks like it's starting to hit their stride. That's like the third time I've said hitting their stride today. I'm curious to see how this game goes. The Ravens, they are really good at running the football. The Chargers are really good at running the football as well. However, the Ravens, their defense might not be good when it comes to stopping the pass, but against the run, they are pretty good. So, and Justin Herbert, like I said, has been playing better. They've been kind of letting it loose. And Lamar Jackson is an MVP candidate. So, to kind of look at this game and look at the rankings for both teams. So, the Ravens are third with passing yards per game, 261.5. Chargers are 21st. Rushing yards, Ravens are second. Chargers are 11th. Ravens are averaging 177.3 rushing yards per game. Chargers are averaging 121.6. Points per game, Ravens are second. Chargers are 18th. And then defensively, Chargers are pretty good against the pass. They are giving up an average of 223.9 passing yards per game, which is 11th. Ravens are 32nd. And this is kind of the reason why I started Justin Herbert in one of my leagues instead of Kyler Murray. And Kyler did not have a good game yesterday. Cardinals ended up losing. So I'm hoping Herbert has a big game. The Ravens are giving up an average of 304.6 passing yards per game. And then against the run, the Ravens are second and the Chargers are 10th. Ravens are giving up an average of 77.5 rushing yards per game, and the Chargers are giving up an average of 110.5. And then points allowed, Chargers defense is first, giving up an average of 14.5, and the Ravens defense is 23rd. So I do expect this game to be high scoring. Right now the over-under is 51. Could be around that. Right now the number has dropped. It was at 3.5. Now it's down to 2.5. I do like the Ravens to bounce back in this game, but it's going to be tough, though, because the Chargers are a good team. They are. And I said going into the year, I thought this was going to be a team that, could fly under the radar and, finish with maybe a decent record and maybe just miss out on the playoffs. But right now, they are the first wild card team in the AFC. Now, I don't think they're going to catch the Chiefs. You do have the Broncos as well at 7-5. Like I said, the AFC West last week, the AFC West, it's a pretty good division, other than the Raiders. The Ravens are kind of smacked in the middle of the Chargers and the Broncos in the wild card. So this is kind of a big game. If the Ravens win, they could pass the Chargers and be the first wild card, but obviously they have their sights set higher. They want to win this division, which I still think they can. They do get another crack at the Steelers. But, they got to win this game tonight. You don't want to drop two straight. Now, obviously, if the Ravens lose this week, I mean, I'm not hitting the panic button or anything, but Then you got the Eagles the following week at home. That's going to be a tough game. I'm actually really looking forward to that game. Eagles Ravens. You're going to have Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, who I don't know if they're going to win MVP, but they're definitely both up for Offensive Player of the Year. It's going to be one of those two guys, you would think. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, you don't want to lose this game and then have to go in and be like, all right, we got to win this, because you end up losing that, then all of a sudden you're at 7-6. So I think the Ravens do win tonight, but I think it's going to be high scoring. I expect both quarterbacks to play well. Lamar's going up against a good defense, but listen, the Chargers defense last week against the Bengals, they held Joe Burrow in that offense down, but then the second half it was a completely different story. Joe Burrow had his way with that defense. So, and if it wasn't for a couple of missed field goals, the Chargers end up losing that game. So, most likely. But yeah, no, I think this is going to be an exciting game tonight. But I do like the Ravens to win. I'm going to say the Ravens win this game. I'm going to say 30-27. 30-27, Ravens win. Maybe they win on a Justin Tucker game-winning field goal. It should be fun. It should definitely be a fun one. It wouldn't surprise me if the Chargers win. The Chargers do have the better defense in this game, but how are they going to be now? How are they going to limit this rushing attack of the Ravens? Now, the Steelers did a good job last week. They held the Ravens down to 16 points. Now we got to see how the Chargers do. And obviously, when it comes to games being played in SoFi Stadium, the opposing team is going to take over that stadium. The Rams and the Chargers do not have home field advantage. Now, when they play against each other at some point, it's not. I don't believe they play each other this year, but when they play each other, they played each other a couple of years ago. But when they play each other again, that's when you kind of have maybe a little bit of home field advantage. But I mean, even then, it's like, what's going to happen there? Because they share a stadium. So I want this scenario to play out, because it was close to it could have happened a few years ago. When the Rams and the Chargers, we thought we were going to be in the playoffs together, but then the Chargers lost the last game of the season to the Raiders. If you had the Chargers and let's say the Rams and the Chargers both had home field advantage going into the championship game, what do you do? What do you do? Like, I want to see that scenario play out with teams that, because we're not going to see it with the Giants and the Jets anytime soon. The Chargers and the Rams, maybe at some point. It's still not likely. But what would happen if those two teams are hosting the championship game? Do you have one of them just go to a different stadium? Like, what? I don't know. I want to see that scenario play out, because I would love to see how the NFL deals with that. But I don't think it's not gonna happen this year. But I would just love to see that scenario play out. So, but yeah, it's just unfortunate that those two teams just really don't have an advantage. Because even last night, the Eagle fans took over SoFi Stadium, and Ravens fans are going to take over the stadium tonight with the Chargers. So, but yeah, I like the Ravens to win tonight, get back on track, and then we'll see what happens the following week when they take on the Eagles, which will be one of the best games of the weekend. And we'll have to take a look at that game on Wednesday when we do our preview show, because like I said, there's going to be no show Thursday or Friday. But you got two defenses that can stop the run, so maybe we see an air show. Lamar Jackson throwing to Isaiah Likely a bunch of times, because I need that for fantasy purposes, and Herbert just airing it out a bunch of times, just not to Ladd McConkey. Saquon Barkley really saved my matchup, a couple of matchups, because it wasn't looking good. It was looking like I was probably going to go 1-4 this week. It's possible I go 3-2. Right now I'm losing to my uncle in our family league by 13 points, but I have Herbert and Likely, and he has Ladd McConkey, who's questionable. It's possible he doesn't play. And then I'm up in another league think I'm up 175 to 158. But my opponent has Derrick Henry left. And maybe the Chargers shut him down. And if they could do that, I win. And in this league, Saquon Barkley got me 65 points. I don't know how the scoring's a little weird in this league, but yeah, I'm up 175 to 158. So we'll see. Or maybe I still go 1-4. But I definitely have a chance because in my family league I'm 5-6, and I need to win this game to keep my playoff hopes alive. I could very well see me losing this, but again, Herbert's looked good. He's been doing well in fantasy as of late, so we'll see what happens. And again, I thought this was the better matchup because it was between him and Kyler, and I said, look, Herbert's been playing well lately. He's going up against a pass defense that has not been great. Probably the better matchup. And Kyler doesn't really play well in Seattle. And he did not play well yesterday. So we'll see what happens in this game. But I do like the Ravens to win. I expect a lot of points to be scored. But let me know what you guys think. Who do you have winning? Let me know in the comments. And with that, that is pretty much it for the show for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to check out all the other shows as well. And let's see what happens with this game tonight. Should be fun. And I will be on the edge of my seat. Hopefully, I get the win. And, keep my playoff hopes alive. And I still got a chance in all my leagues. Nothing is set in stone yet except for one league. I'm locked into a playoff spot. But pretty much for all my leagues, my other leagues, it's going to be a fight to the end. Next week, the playoffs start the week after. Next week is a win-and-in scenario. It's an elimination game between me and my friend. We're playing against each other, and whoever wins that matchup will make the playoffs with the losing record. But it's gonna be tough because we don't want to eliminate each other. But it's one of us has to go. I think it's gonna end up being me because my team in that league is not doing very good. That's the league I have McCaffrey in, and he just has not looked right. But I can't say I'm not surprised because he's been out the whole year. He's just getting back. So, but maybe he'll surprise me next week with Purdy coming back, hopefully. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Talk to you guys tomorrow. As always, I'm your host Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the video, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.